Arnold High School theater teacher Kathleen McNulty Mann remembers the day her classroom and school became a shelter from Hurricane Michael.
We had a mere hours to get things out of our classroom that might be personal items, and they were clearing the walls of our classroom bare, almost essentially.
A native Floridian, her and her family stayed for the storm. Her and her husband had only been living in the home they built since March. A year later, that home is just now getting repaired.
We will have to move out soon. We're in our home, but we won't be able to be once they actually start doing the work that needs to be done. The only thing that's happened is a new roof, but we have quite a bit of tear out and rebuild to do on a brand new home.
After the storm, McNulty Mann and her husband climbed a mile to her husband's parents' home.
We found them essentially just sitting in what was left of the roof of their house. I mean, you could just see the sky and how helpless they were.
They spent the next day digging them out of their damaged home.
You become Superman. The adrenaline rush. You know, suddenly I was very strong and I was moving trees and doing things that I normally would not, to make sure that they had a path out, because my father-in-law needed to get in a vehicle to get out. He couldn't climb or walk out.
For McNulty Mann, returning to work allowed her to escape the devastation that enveloped the community and find a sense of normalcy.
I needed to be with my students. I needed to see them and to talk to them. I needed to hear their stories.
And some of those students' stories ended up on stage. They wrote a play about what they went through during the storm.
Everything from the kids who evacuated to students whose own bedrooms were destroyed shared their stories at a district festival for theater, which is covering Pensacola to Tallahassee.
That opportunity gave them the chance to explain what happened not only to their peers, but to nearby cities.
They were like, the people in our community don't need to hear our stories. They have their own. We want to share these stories with people outside of our community, so that they can understand what we've experienced. And theater is that. It's to educate, it's to express ourselves, and it's to share the human experience in a live format.
McNulty Mann wants people to understand that even though a year has passed, things are still difficult.
I think in some ways we are trying so hard to move on that we are forgetting that we still have a lot to deal with and we still have a lot to work through. Those of us who our homes aren't completely repaired, and there are so many of us, still have that sense of unease at going home every day.
For News 13, Michelle Kaufman, Panhandle Strong.